I decided to do all my savings that I earned over years, which were my bonuses, my 13th check, my overtime at work. I started dedicating all that money, all of it. I didn't even chow anything. I can tell you from that moment, from 2010 until now, I still even have the diary where I wrote all my salaries, my incomes, my extra incomes, like in a form of bonus and overtimes. So I took all that money. Then I started the building process because they already gave me an idea. So I did a buildings plan, and then I started building my first cottage, and I built that cottage cash. It cost me almost 250 to 300,000 just for building it. But I built it in phases. I didn't build it at once because I didn't have money and I didn't want to take a loan. Remember, my mom never taught us a culture of taking loans. So what I did, I took all those incomes that I had, then I built the cottage cash. I started by building the foundation and then structure and then roof. Then
How long did it take you to do that?
I started in 2013. By 2015, I was finished because of what I did. Like I shared on the platform that I used to be the first person to volunteer. So every time at work, when there was volunteer for overtime at the borders, overtime at the other offices, or within our office, I used to be number one to volunteer because I had a goal of building. So I took all those funds and then I was able to be. So I built that in 2 years.
Okay, tell me something, right? You just mentioned something quite interesting. You said in your 20s, you used to then start volunteering a lot at work whenever they needed a volunteer. And I'm guessing that paid, right? You didn't have kids. And even from the time we met, I think you were in your late 30s, you still did not have kids.
Yes.
Now you do have, but let's talk to when you didn't have. Was it a deliberate thing to delay having kids so that you can build your life and build your wealth and then have kids later? Or it just so happened that you didn't have a boyfriend and you couldn't make kids?
Okay, I think...
It's a good question, isn't it?
Yes.
You might think it's a plan, Kanti. No one is Shelly.
Okay. I think in my 20s, I only dated almost like 2 guys. Ne? Okay, I thought it was a serious relationship, but only to find that no, it wasn't. Okay, they acted like they were serious, but I think our personalities, they differed. So most of those relationships didn't work. The first time I was interested in having a child was when I was 25. But my goal of being interested in having the child since childhood, remember each and every woman will always dream of being married and having a child. But my dream, since I grew up in a family house, I didn't want to have a child while staying at my grandmother. So that was the goal. So I made sure that I don't have a child when I was still at my grandmother.
The goal became the bond house.
And then, yes. And then when I had a bond house, I now didn't have a problem with having a child. But it mattered who I had a child with.
Who taught you that? Or how did you know that? Because a lot of women don't know that.
Remember at my home, it's a family house. My aunts are 5.
Family house,
yeah.
You mustn't think family house is a big house. It's a 4-room house.
So it's already like my grandmother had 6 kids which is my uncle, and which is the 5, which is my aunts. So all of them, I saw a trend of them. Okay, after they've broke up with their father of their kids, all of them, they'll come back to that household. So obviously...
To the 4-room?
Yes. That's why we ended up, my brother said, no, I'm having my own shack. My mom said, we ended up having shacks. So many shacks in the yard, whereby this one is staying with though we have a house. If you want to stay inside the house, you'll stay. If you want to stay in the shack, you'll go and stay with your parents. So we ended up having that setup. So for me, I didn't want to raise my child in that setup. The same setup that I grew up in. So my setup was that I want to have kids when I can be able to provide them with a home. So when I bought my bond house, I was 25. I was like 24 to 25. So I was like now ready to have a child. And the guy that I met at the time, I felt that, no, I want to have a child with him. I didn't have a problem with having a child until I learned that, no, while he was dating me, he was going to secretly be married with somebody else. So I found out he was getting married to somebody else while being with me.
Is he from Limpopo?
Obviously.
Oh.
From those high villages, those high villages, yes. So that's when I bought a mission. Then I met another guy. He had a house. I had a house. He didn't have a child. He was exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to have a child with somebody that had a child. That other one had a child. So now I have this mindset to say, no, me now once I realize something doesn't work, I change the mindset. So I met this guy. But we only found that it didn't, our personality and relationship, it didn't work out. So we broke up. So from that moment, that's when at work we started having opportunities of earning incomes. I broke up with him in 2012. So that's when we started having opportunities. So because I was single, then I started focusing on my career and making money because relationships were not working for me at the time. But I still had the idea to say that I want a child and I wanted a child with this specific person because of through my friends and my family, I saw that they have this trend of these guys that they have kids with and these guys behave this way. So I always had a thought that I don't want to date the caliber of the guys that I see most of my friends dating and most of my families dating, even my own dad. My dad knows that I told him that I don't want to date a guy of your caliber. Because my dad had 14 kids with 7 different women. So I told myself,
You wouldn't exist if you didn't do that, but it's
I'm the
another story.
firstborn. I'm the firstborn. So I told myself that I don't want that for myself. So even the guys that I've dated, if you can check, I've dated through guys that I could see that they were not part of my trauma. Even the ones that I've broken up
Wait,
with.
what's your dad's name? My dad has 14 kids.
Okay, it's late now, ne? My dad
is still alive. Let's
okay,
continue.
fine. So based on that, I also felt that I think the guys that I dated, I was looking at more of a father figure. Because remember, they broke up with my mom. I was raised by my mom. So I wanted something different from my dad. My dad was a funny father figure. Like we had fun with him, but he was not that, he never did everything that we wanted as kids. So all the time when I went out with guys, I'll check if you're a good father figure. And even if you didn't have kids, I'll check how you behave around kids. So that delayed me not to be having kids because every time I'll check the guy, I'll check if, oh, okay, fine. Are you a great father figure? So for the longest time since 2012, I broke up with that guy. I went on a journey of self-development emotionally. I wanted to heal all those traumas of being hurt by guys and stuff. So I remained single. So I was single most of the time. It's not the fact that I didn't have kids. Then at 35, I started having interest in having kids. And then that's when I met the father of my kids. But we didn't have a child at 35. When I was 35, we dated for almost like 5 years. Then I started having kids with him after like 5 years.
What would you say was the advantage of actually doing that? Delaying the process of having kids. I mean, some women are scared that what if I delay it and then I don't have kids? And what impact did it have on your career, that thing?
Okay, for me, because I knew that I could, because a lot of people, when you delay having kids, they'll start calling you names thinking that probably you can't conceive and stuff. But for me, I
Did
didn't.
they call you names?
Yes, quite a lot. Even the families, colleagues, friends, they did. It
Your own
happens.
family?
I think it happens to almost every woman that doesn't have kid at the age of 20, 25. Because remember, teenage pregnancy is normalized in our townships or communities. So immediately at 20, so you can imagine for me, from the age of 21 up until 38, I've been called names. But because, like I told you, I didn't succumb to peer pressure. And one thing that helped me is because of I love kids. So all the kids of my brothers, my friends, I regarded them as kids. So I didn't see myself as childless because of I already had kids around and I view them as my kids. So even today, I still view them as my kids. I view every child. I'm that person witness. If you are a child, right now, if you are a child, I feel that I'm fond of you. I can even give you my inheritance because my plan of inheritance is not about the people that I've given birth to, but it's about the behavior that I see people have with money and the behavior that people invest in themselves. So if I can identify a child here in KZN, that I can see that this child is so passionate about property, if I make it one day, I wouldn't mind giving that child a property to say, okay, here's your start. I can give you one of my properties to start on. Hence, I even right now managed to do the rent to rent. Hence, even right now, most of my properties are on rent to rent. I'm not holding on them. I've allowed other people to rent out some of my properties and make money from them.